Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time for Taroscopes again. We're going to be doing the Taroscopes for the sign of Scorpio. Here's my Scorpio picture for the month of April 2025. Before we get there, we're going to do some astrology. We're going to do some tarot reading. We're going to do an oracle card. But before we do that, I want to just welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you for joining this wonderful community of like-minded souls. To my tried and true who have been with me for years, walking this path, which has been rather long and winding and challenging at times and exalted at times. Thank you for your support over all these years. For my new members on YouTube, my membership program, thank you for becoming a member. I'll talk a little bit about the membership at the end of the video. And to my Patreon people who have also been with me for years, thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. All right, so let's get into the astrology. We're going to look at the astrology just in general at first, and then we'll move on to your specific astrology. So let me find my place here. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so what do we have here is we have the Tree of Life. We have all the planets, all the planetary spheres with the signs that those planets are in. So as an example, this is Bina or Bina. This is associated with the planet Saturn, and Saturn is in Pisces, and that's how you read that, right? So we also have the vibrations that we're working with this month, the 4 vibration, which is the vibration of the month, the 9, which is the universal year vibration, and then the 13-4, which is the death card, which is the combination of the month and the year. So that's specific for the energy of April. And of course, death is about letting go, right? The 1, 3, and then the 4 is about letting go of that which no longer serves and being reborn sort of on a higher level with a foundation of your previous experiences that you can stand on, right? Your previous lessons, like what you've learned up to this point. The 4 vibration is associated with the Emperor card. This is about dominion over yourself. This is about autonomy. It's an Aries energy, so all those sort of Aries keywords come in with this vibration. Of course, there's a lot of Aries. We have Neptune in Aries. This Sephiroth is the Sephiroth of Neptune and Pluto. So we have Neptune in Aries, Pluto in Aquarius. We have the Sun in Aries at the beginning of the month. We have eventually Mercury moving into Aries, and then also Venus moving into Aries. And these are, they start the month, Venus and Mercury start the month retrograde and then turn around and go direct. They're actually start the month in Pisces, and then they move into Aries after they've gone direct. We'll talk about all of that as we go through. The paths that are connected, this 4th path connects the Sephiroth of Uranus, which is Chokmah, which means wisdom, and the Sephiroth of the Sun, Tiphareth, which means beauty. So it's the Sun and Uranus energy here. The 9 activates Hesed, which is wisdom. This is associated with Jupiter, and Tiphareth, which is associated with the Sun. 9 is the universal year vibration. It's a year of separating the wheat from the chaff. So it's a year of healing. It's a year of letting go, which no longer serves you, and planning for the future. It's also a year of sharing your wisdom, sharing your light, like the Hermit does here. And then here we have the 13-4. This connects the Sun to Venus, the Sephiroth of Venus. This 13-4 is the desire to aspire to your higher self. Your higher self sits here in Tiphareth, which corresponds to your heart chakra. Okay, so this is about letting go and moving into to know that there's something better, something more fulfilling, something truer to who you are, and something with more love coming if you allow yourself to let go. All right. let's look at what's going on. The first thing to happen is on the third. Major thing to happen is on the third. That's a sextile between Saturn and Uranus. That's important because it's part of a much larger cycle that began in the late 80s. The sextile that these two planets have reached is a sextile of progressive change, sharing our knowledge. This is actually could be seen as um, um, Bernie Sanders doing his anti-oligarch tour. Like that would be the perfect expression of that. We also have on that day Mars sextile Uranus. It's also a progressive change sextile, but it is a smaller cycle. It's a 2-year cycle. But this is a time when we put our actions behind the need for humanitarianism. April 6th, the Sun sextiles Jupiter. Remember that is activating this path, the path of healing. Opportunities to heal, opportunities to let go, perhaps opportunities to share your wisdom. We also have Venus trine Mars on that day, which is a really nice energy. Venus in Pisces, Mars in Cancer, very emotional, very sensitive, but a nice flow. This might be a time when, you come to forgive somebody in your life. You finally let go of a resentment that's been hurting you, even probably more than the person you resent. Um, Possibilities for this energy. On the 7th, Mercury stations direct, and Venus conjoins Saturn. Venus is retrograde at this point. Mercury now turns around. On the 8th, Venus continues its retrograde movement and makes a sextile to Uranus. Of course, it's one day and the next day because these two planets are in that sextile to each other. So not only are these two planets, Uranus and Saturn, in this sextile, which is here to sort of to change our understanding of society. 45 years is a long time for a cycle. We also have Venus touching both of these as she moves retrograde in Pisces, where she's exalted. On the 12th, Venus stations direct. And we have a full moon in Libra. Libra is a Venus ruled sign. The full moon does happen before Venus goes direct, but Venus is stationary at this point, and that's very powerful. Any stationary planet is very powerful, especially because Venus is in her exaltation. She's exalted in Pisces. On the 16th, Mercury, which has just recently moved direct, ingresses back into Aries, going over that world point. There's a lot of stuff going over that world point at the beginning of this year. Last month, this month, okay? January, we had the nodes go over that. So this is an important time of sort of preparing for a whole new sort of like reality, honestly. And that actually doesn't really come through exactly until February of next year. We have a lot of stuff to get through. We're in a 9-year, so there's a lot of crap we got to deal with before we get to the new beginning, as it were. So Venus stations direct, Mars ingresses into Aries. Mercury, did I say Mars? I meant Mercury. Mercury then conjoins Neptune. Neptune had just moved into Aries at the end of March, so now Mercury. So Neptune's been like hanging around that first degree, right? That's important. And then we have Mercury going direct, making that conjunction in Aries, in direct Aries. Mercury in Aries is very direct. It's very instinctual. It doesn't have a lot of experience, but it does have great instincts. So that's something to consider. On the 18th, Mars re-enters Leo. Remember, Mars was in Leo back in December when it went retrograde, and then retrograded all the way back into Cancer. That happened on the 6th of January. You can't make this stuff up. And then in February 23rd, it turned around at 17 degrees of Cancer. This is Mars I'm talking about, and then started to move forward. Now, and then Mars was in Cancer, moving forward all through March. That's why we saw that big sort of like swell of feelings and emotions. And a lot of that was anger, right? I didn't vote for this kind of energy. right? And now we have Mars re-entering Leo. This is significant for Volodymyr Zelensky because he has his Mars at 1 degree of Leo. So does Michael Cohen, by the way. Although I'm not sure, it could be the last degree of Cancer and the first degree of Leo. But definitely a significant point to two people, I think, who are a bit of a thorn in the side of the 47th president. Um, we have on the 19th the Sun ingress into Taurus. That's nice. I love the Sun in Taurus. We sort of it's been like when the Sun's in Aries, it's exciting, but it's stressful because it's like, right? But now it moves into Taurus and you get to like put your roots down. It's much more stable. It's a much more sort of, now you have to work on how you are going to survive and thrive. That's what Taurus asks us to do. And we have a lovely trine between Mars and Neptune. This might be a good day to have some sort of like um, fertility dance. Ooh, fertility dance, right? This is good. Mars and Neptune are always a bit of a crapshoot, but the trine is beautiful. It's probably my favorite aspect between Mars and Neptune. On the 20th of April, we have Venus. Now she's turned around, right? Venus turned around. She's stationed direct on that full moon, the 12th. Now she comes back to Uranus and makes another sextile, and then she'll come back to Saturn and make a conjunction to Saturn on the 24th. In the meantime, Saturn conjoins the north node of the moon. The north node of the moon is the direction of our destiny. Saturn is reality. So we'll get a bit of a reality check or see what's at stake. See what's at stake. On the 20th, besides Venus sextiling Uranus, we have Mercury sextiling Pluto. This is really nice. This is getting information, digging for data, digging for data. And then the Sun makes a last quarter square to Mars. This is a very rebellious square. The last quarter square is crisis in consciousness. The Sun is ego, Mars is desire. So they're at cross purposes with each other, but it's all sort of in this energy of uh, not a trusting authority, perhaps, and starting to trust your own instincts and your own ideas about things. We have Saturn conjunct the North Node, as I said, on the 21st. 23rd, the Sun makes a first quarter square to Pluto. This is a crisis in action. Pluto is the world soul. The Sun is the life giver. So this is about acting to transform, acting to change, acting to bring light to what needs to change and be restructured, perhaps. On the 24th, Venus conjoins Saturn again, and now she's ready, right, in Pisces. On the 26th, Mars opposes Pluto. This is the last of three. This really is the end point of the awareness that we have garnered since November. Okay. It's a long time. That's because Mars was retrograde, right? And had three oppositions to Pluto. The first one happened on the 3rd of November 2024. That was 2 days before the American election. The second one happened either the 1st or 2nd of January. I think it depended where you were. And this last one is happening now on the 26th. And the opposition is a point of awareness. And so we're going to be getting the story. I think we might get more of the story than we even imagined we could get. Okay? Because this we have to see it, because we have to decide whether we want it or we don't want it, right? On the 27th, we have a new moon in Taurus. That would be in your house of relationships, so that should be interesting. We'll look at that. And then on April 30th, the last day of the month, we have Venus ingress into Aries. So Venus is ready for battle. She's met up with Saturn. She's met up with Uranus while she was moving backwards. Then she moved forward. She met those people. She met those folk again, and now she's ready to take on the. And of course, Venus is the ruler of Taurus. So we have those Sun in Taurus and Venus ready to take on the battle. take on the battle. Okay. All right, that's good for that. Now let's just see how it looks on your chart. All right, Scorpio, Scorpio. So we can see that most of the energy is like this on this part of your chart this month. So this is you emerging. This is sort of you're doing a lot of like sort of at the beginning, especially work under the covers, which of course that's where Scorpio likes to do most of its work. Well, not necessarily. Well, yes, that too, but like not being seen, right? You don't like to be when you're doing your work, sometimes you like to not be seen so people don't bother you or they can't figure out what you're doing. But then when the sun goes into Taurus, the sun comes up over that horizon line, and you start to see things. So, but there are things still underground working for you. You have Pluto. Speaking of underground, you have Pluto, which is one of your ruling planets in your fourth house of soul, and you are symbolic of the soul, Scorpio. So Pluto in that house, I think, is Pluto is never comfortable, but there's a familiarity that you have with Pluto, that it doesn't do the same thing that it does to other signs, because the other signs aren't always living under the auspices of Pluto. Saturn's in Pisces, still in your fifth house. Fun is still a little hard to come by. Romance perhaps a little hard to come by, but Saturn does bring structure to things, and this is the house of creative self-expression. So you might find yourself continuing to be very, very creative and actually producing a lot of something, whatever your creation, whatever venue you choose to use for your creativity. Venus and Mercury start the month retrograde. They start in your fifth house, then they turn around and move into your sixth house. You have the sun in your sixth house as you start the month. That's a focus on your health. Um, Chiron is there as well, but Chiron's been there for a while. Chiron spends the most time in Aries. So there's a lot of, this is the wounded healer energy. Neptune is now in that sixth house, spiritualizing your work, I think. Sun moves when it moves on the 19th, when it moves in to your seventh house, it focuses on that. You have the new moon there also in the seventh house, an opportunity to start a new relationship. And the seventh house isn't just like marriage relationships, but it's business relationships. So this may be a time when you start a business, you sign a contract, whatever. And that will be, let's see, that's after Venus and Jupiter go direct. So did I say Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury go direct? So it's a little bit more of an auspicious time to sign something. Okay. You do have the full moon here, the full moon, which happens on the 12th, I think, actually occurs in your 12th house. That's the hidden places, with the sun in the 12th, the sun in the 6th. So this is the axis of healing. So you may become aware of what needs to be healed. It's also a karmic axis. So you can, some sort of karmic relationship may come to an end. You may be able to release yourself from that at this time. Jupiter in your eighth house, just gathering information. You love the eighth house and you love gathering information. So there it is. If you're a forensic accountant right about now, I think you're pretty busy. And of course, as with a Scorpio, forensic accounting would be like a Scorpio's wet dream, quite frankly. Okay. Mars is in Cancer as it starts the month, as we know, and then it finally moves back into Leo, where it originally had gone retrograde. A lot of frustration for you around the law and what was fair and what was not fair. A lot of emotions around that. And now, once Mars moves into that 10th house, you'll be able to take some leadership roles, some action in your career or in the way the world sees you. So, and of course, you are a Mars ruled sign as well. Mars and Pluto are the co-rulers of your sign. And while Leo is square to your Scorpio, it's still a powerful Mars. And even if you don't agree with Leo, you respect their willfulness and their resolve, I think. All right. All right. That's what I want to say about Scorpio. All right, so now we're going to do a card reading, and I've decided to use the Wild Unknown deck for you, Scorpio. So let's do that. Alrighty. Oops. Oops. One more. Okay, let's see what we start with. Ooh, what kind of fool am I? So you are in a whole new place. You have taken the leap of faith. You may actually feel like you're at ground zero, and maybe you didn't want to be at ground zero. You just happen to find yourself at ground zero at this point. But this is an opportunity to do something you haven't done before, too. I mean, whether you like it or not, this is a new start for you, a new start. Let's see what challenges that. You're still mourning over some losses that you've had. It's important that you attend to that. A lot of suffering going on in the world, and Scorpio is a very empathetic sign. They may not show so much on their face what like how it affects them, but it affects you deeply. You're a deeply sensitive sign, and you don't like to see people hurt, although because you know what it feels like, right? So this says mourn your losses, but don't get stuck. Don't get stuck in the sorrow of things. And if in point of fact, if you're in a new space, whether you want it to be or not, and this is the challenge of that, right? This may be that you're mourning wherever you had been before. But the Fool card comes up when it's time for you to take that leap. Sometimes you take it and sometimes you get shoved over the edge, right? Okay, let's see what's underneath it. Okay, we have the Nine of Pentacles underneath it all. So you do have stability. You have feathered your nest. Um, you've taken the precautions. I feel like your money is safe. Your money is safe. In the past, we have the Emperor. This is about you taking dominion over your life, being a leader, having leadership, right? We do have an eclipse here. So the eclipse, last month's eclipse, full moon eclipse on the 14th, and then the new moon, a solar eclipse on, I think was the 29th, was significant. And maybe that's what caused this, the new beginning. All right. So those eclipses were very significant for you. In the sky, more money, but stability. Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles. So that's it, in a way it's sort of like protecting or holding things together, holding the money together. In the immediate future, we have the Two of Cups. So you do have that new moon in your house of relationship. So it looks like a new relationship is coming in. Now, this indicates a love relationship, but does not always have to be a love relationship. But I think it would have to be a relationship based on common value. You have to have the same values. This is not, I'm a total opposite of you and all of this stuff. No, it's about the give and take. It's a more mature relationship than sort of some of these passionate relationships that just end up, self-destructing. How it's seen from the outside, the end of an era. The end of some people are aware that you have come to the end of one thing, right? And now you're in a new place. Your domestic situation, oh, the Daughter of Cups, this is a lovely energy, sweet, good news, loving, delicate, creative. messages of love, messages from spirit, that spirit loves you. Maybe you have a daughter, a granddaughter, a grandson even. Like this is a young person. You might even find that a young person comes into your life that you can be a mentor to or something like that. Hopes and fears, the Chariot, you want things to move on. You want things to evolve. You don't have fear of moving forward. Okay, that's not it. The only thing that this might be is that things happen fast, and it may seem like it's happening too fast. Something might be happening too fast. And then the outcome, ooh, the 10 of Cups. I like that. Happiness, fulfillment, love, family. You know, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow kind of energy. Let's see if we can pull a major arcana. The Eight of Swords. You're not quite ready to come out of the chrysalis yet when it comes to what you want to say. Justice. Things are gonna balance out. There's a balance here. Justice will be served. Justice will be served. Underneath it all, we have the cup of love, happiness, family, nostalgia, and the Five of Swords. You'll be witnessing some abuses of power this week. I mean, this month. Um, but also, you know, it's always a bit of a mixed bag, right? So, all right. Well, you're tough stuff. You're tough stuff, Scorpio. You don't take prisoners, especially when they're, you know, have gone against justice. So, all right. Wow, that was pretty intense. But you're in a good place. You're in a good place. There's stuff that you have to deal with, but we all have to deal with stuff. So I think you'll be fine. All right. One more card pull, and that will be I have the Oracle deck, the Animal Spirit Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. I think it's beautiful. And the information that you get, you know, around the animals is very good. So let me pull one for Scorpio. Scorpio. What animal wants to help Scorpio this month? To just make that a little looser. There we go. I've had these cards for a while, but sometimes well, there's a lot of cards here. Sometimes I feel like there's ones I haven't even seen yet. Let's see. Lizard Spirit. I don't know if I've seen Lizard Spirit, so maybe this is one of them. Lizard. Okay, let's see what it says. It says, dream the world into being. Dream the world into being. That's really what Neptune conjunct Saturn next year, I think, is about. Dreaming the world into being. So be real clear by the time February 2026 rolls around, what kind of world you want to live in, and then take steps to create it. All right. Oh, almost. Oh, here we go. Found it. I'll hold this up. It's a pretty card, even though it's a lizard. All right. Dream the world into being. When was the last time you basked in the sun and allowed yourself to daydream, to imagine what might be and who might you become? Lizard spirit appears when you are called to let your imagination flow and dream something new. Inspiration is available to you now if you are willing to slow down and let your eyes close a little, allowing ideas to dance in your head. What might come into being if you were to pursue your dream? How might you grow and expand if you allow yourself to dare to believe in the impossible, making it possible first in your dreaming mind and then in the world as you co-create with spirit? Give in to the power of imagination, and soon your dream will become clearer. The steps will reveal themselves, and what was ephemeral will begin to coalesce into form. Dream it and be it. Spirit asks you to dare to dream big. Dare to dream big. I like that. All right, that's your message from the animals, the nanimals. All right, have yourself a great month. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And I just want to say a couple things about my membership. There are two levels, the Starlets and the Star Seekers. I do readings. I'll be doing more readings, more card readings, uh, on some, probably on some political issues and then other issues. We can have a communication. Let me know what you're interested in. I'll put out some questions. You know how you put the questions out. And for the star seekers, you will get more like nuts and bolts kind of astrological, almost like tutorial energies, right? Tutorials with some of those videos. So if you want to join, please do. If you can't, just like and subscribe. That helps as well. I do plenty of things that have nothing to do with the membership. So you won't be disappointed to follow this channel. All right. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again next month. Until then, namaste.